What is up, ladies and gents? In today's video, we're going to be talking all about Zebec. We're going to be discussing the recent news here on Zebec. We're going to be talking about what we're seeing here on the charts and where I think the price is going to go to in the next few days. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. Of course, if you are a new viewer, then welcome to this channel. If you do like this sort of content, hit the like button and subscribe for more. If you are a returning viewer, as always, welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you all here. So we're going to be diving straight into this video, and the first thing I want to talk about is this new announcement that Zebec have just released. That's right, guys, just 20 minutes ago, as of filming this video on their Twitter, we saw this tweet come out from Zebec. Now they're introducing a brand new card, the Zebec Carbon. And of course, this new cards, let me just say, has some attractive features. But before I get into that, let me just say that the sign up link for it is down here. And the first 500 people who sign up for this Zebec card actually get 0 fees on the sign up process. So of course, what you need to do, guys, is head onto the Twitter, search up Zebec Network on their Twitter, and of course, when you click on this link down here, you'll get given to a site that looks a little bit like this. As you can see, fees waived for the first 500 signups. What you guys want to click on is the Zebec Carbon one. This is the brand new one here. Do not click on Zebec Silver here. This has been around for a little while. The difference is that this one is non-reloadable, so it's a single-use card. This one, however, is one that stays with you and you can top it up any single time that you want. It's got higher limits as well, as you can see, up to 10k a day. And most impressively, in my opinion, is the fact that it's also 0 fees. So basically, if you have one USDC, then you can trade that instantly for 1 USD. There's no fees associated with that whatsoever. So previously, when I wanted to spend my money in crypto, generally I would have gone through something like crypto.com, where I would have sold my crypto into fiat currency and then spent it that way. But their conversion rates for selling crypto are absolutely terrible. So in my opinion, this is quite a bit of a game changer. Now, if you make any profits in crypto and then you sell it, there are no fees when you are taking it out into fiat. Of course, when you sign up through the whole process, you'll see something that looks a little bit like this at the end. It's basically your home screen on their account, and you will basically get card details, so you can use this to basically spend your crypto on whatever you fancy. Obviously, this only works for spending on things. You can't transfer this to your bank, for example. It's only a card number that you can use to make purchases in store or online. But still, this is absolutely amazing, particularly if you're looking to spend your money after you take out your profits anyway. And of course, this is not something that takes a long time to do as well. The money is ready in seconds. It's all done via the Zebec Network and Phantom. The Phantom is the Solana wallet that works really well with Zebec, so I do recommend that one if you're trying to get this card, because of course, to top it up, you need to connect it to your Phantom wallet and then send the USDC from there into your Zebec card. So I've already got my card. I do recommend that you do this quite quickly as well. Only the first 500 do not get any fees for getting this Zebec Carbon card. And of course, I will leave the link for this tweet in the description down below as well. In other news as well, we've finally seen Zebec address the situation where the Korean exchange delisted them. Basically, they put out this tweet earlier today, the first kind of correspondence that we've heard from Zebec on the matter, but basically they're pursuing legal avenues towards the fact that they have been delisted. They basically said they've made a comprehensive response. They kind of responded to this exchange in every way that they could, basically explaining everything, but nonetheless they got delisted anyway. And so it is quite a PR type of response, but nonetheless, at least they have addressed the situation. Hopefully we get some clarification as to why it has happened. Hopefully not something that is swept under the rug, as it has cost a lot of us investors in Zebec quite a bit of money. So hopefully this gets resolved in some form of way. Of course, a lot of you reached out to me telling me that this Korean exchange here, Bitfarm, the CEO of this one, has done some shady things in the past. So I do appreciate the extra perspective here. It kind of makes a bit more sense in that way, considering that no other exchange has delisted Zebec apart from this particular one. Of course, it has dented the price quite a bit, as you can see here on the chart, not just once but twice, where we saw some form of interference from this Korean exchange basically dumped the price. The first one was obviously when they gave investors on their platform the warning for Zebec, and then the second one here was when they actually went to delist it. And of course, what we saw on the first occasion here was a very impressive recovery. So what I'll be interested to see is how Zebec responds to this second drop here. Of course, if history was to repeat itself, I think we will see Zebec get back up to this level in the shorter term. And of course, I think we will get there over the next few weeks as long as crypto behaves. Of course, right now, for example, we are seeing Bitcoin in a nice little uptrend. Of course, as Zebec holders, we also check out to see what Bitcoin is doing, because generally when we see Bitcoin making moves up, there is a bullish bias in the whole market. So we generally tend to see altcoins like Zebec following suit here with Bitcoin. And of course, if Bitcoin's in some sort of downtrend, that's going to be bearish here for Zebec. So what we're seeing here now on Bitcoin is quite a nice little short-term bullish trend. Of course, we are hitting some levels of resistance. The first one we can see on Bitcoin is this one coming down like this. And the second one that we have is basically this 90 to 91K area. So we've got a few headwinds here for Bitcoin. Of course, if we see rejection on Bitcoin and the prices start to head back down, that's going to delay this kind of recovery here on Zebec for a little while. So just make sure you're prepared for a scenario where prices kind of just hover around this area for the next few weeks, for example, before we start to see an improvement in the price. Of course, on the other hand, if Bitcoin can claim this 91K level and start to kind of pump above it, then needless to say, that's going to be bullish here for Zebec. And I think Zebec has the opportunity to start breaking out of this long-term resistance that we have seen. Of course, as you can see, since August of 2024, we've had this resistance, keeping the Zebec price kind of consolidating. Of course, we saw an attempt at a breakout here in January 2025. Unfortunately, due to market conditions, the prices fell back down under this support line here. And the fact that we've recently come to test this yet again as a resistance tells me that this could still be in play. Now, of course, what we also have here on Zebec is this support line. And of course, as you can see, support has been supported on lots of different occasions around this region, at least 5 separate times, and once more in this region over here. So we have a strong support, in my opinion, a strong resistance. And what you guys are looking at is a triangle formation. So like I say, if we can see the prices eventually recover back up to this level here, which is roughly around 0.14 to 0.15 cents, and we start to see momentum and trading volume increase as we get there and prices start to break out above like this, then we could potentially see a breakout of this triangle. Of course, that's going to be very bullish for Zebec, and that would give me a price target here on Zebec of the distance between the first test and support. And as we can see, that will take Zebec to roughly 0.33 cents. Of course, that is a dynamic price target. The longer it takes, the lower the price target is. But in any which case, that is a 126% trade to the upside. So not one to be missed by any means. Of course, if you are looking for a good place to trade any potential breakout here on Zebec, or even if you just want to hold Zebec, then look no further than the MEXC exchange. This is the exchange that I use for all my trading because they have some of the lowest trading fees. They don't require KYC to get started, and for a limited time, they're giving every new user who signs up a free $20. So if you want to make use of this offer, click in the link in the description down below, fill out your details. It takes less than a minute to do so. And on top of normal trading here for Zebec, they even have futures where you can trade Zebec with up to 20 times leverage. So again, if you want to try that, click in the link in the description down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for your support. Back into this video. So that's the first bullish scenario that I am looking for. Of course, I also think that if prices do head down, if Trump mentions tariff a few more times and the prices in crypto do tank here, then we could be looking at this sort of scenario as the worst case, in my opinion. The support here has been a strong support for Zebec. And so we should also be prepared for a scenario where prices in Zebec continue down to the 0.085 cent region. That's nothing to be worried about. The only time I would be worried is if we break down meaningfully below this area. So I do think the downside risk on Zebec is quite limited to this area down here. That's roughly 15% down from where we are right now. So not the end of the world by any means, but the upside potential here is quite remarkable. We're looking at least 3x to this target up here. And if we get to that region as well, we could potentially look forward to an even bigger triangle. Of course, if we get above this upper resistance here, let's just say that it follows the green path, we see some resistance at this level, but then we decidedly break out past this resistance, we could be looking at an even bigger price target. And of course, this gives us the motive on Zebec to take us all the way to that beloved 1 cent region. Of course, as you can see, the price target there sits at 0.9 cents. But if we get to that level, then of course, 1 cent is within our reach. And that, in my opinion, is my 2025 target for Zebec so far. Of course, given the work rate by the team and how many things they are launching right now, I think in the right conditions, when we see greed and extreme greed return to the markets, we could definitely see Zebec as a clear winner here in crypto. But of course, right now we do have to be patient because we are not seeing greed and extreme greed. We are still in the fear zone. So of course, I strongly believe in 2025, we will see a period come where we see greed and extreme greed return. And when that happens, that's going to allow Zebec to thrive. But right now, we just have to wait it out until this graph gets there. For now, we are still in fear and we do not know how long it's going to be. But when we get to greed and extreme greed, that's when all that patience will pay off here on Zebec. So that's kind of my thoughts here on Zebec at the moment. Of course, really good news with their new that they have released. Of course, if you are not following Zebec yet, then make sure you also follow them and have their notifications here on Twitter. That's how I got into this tweet in the first place, with them posting it within the first 60 seconds. So make sure you do that. Of course, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Do let me know down in the description below. Do let me know down in the comments below if you are holding any Zebec. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video.